Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Apoorva and I am from MPCs, and I am here to talk about the topics of features of groups. C++ is an object-oriented programming language, and it was developed by Regions Postdoc at AT&T and Bell Laboratories. And I am here to talk about the features of groups. Group stands for Object-Oriented Programming System that uses object to design applications. It divides larger program into related classes, and once a class has been declared, we can create number of objects. So here are the major concepts of groups. Class. Class is defined as the collection of data members and member function. This is the syntax for class. So class is a keyword and class name. Here you can see the data members and member functions. So class is nothing but collection of data members and member functions, and class should be terminated with semicolon. And class is a user-defined data type, and it is an abstract data type that contains data members and member functions. Class should be terminated with semicolon, and once a class has been declared, we can create a number of objects of this class. And then object. Object is a basic runtime entity of a program is called as object. And in other way, we can say that the instance of class is called as an object. And for better understanding, and we can say that class variables or class variables are called as object. Here I can explain with a simple example. Like here int a, that is a is a variable of type integer. So here object is also a variable of type class. Here student is a class name. So objects are the variables of type class. And then we go with the encapsulation. Encapsulation is the process of wrapping or combining the data members and member functions into a single unit is called as encapsulation. Wrapping is nothing but covering. The main aim of encapsulation is data hiding. Wrapping is nothing but covering the data members so that we can hide the data of class like member functions and data members, and the data inside the class is not accessible by outsiders. And next, inheritance. Inheritance is the process of creating a new class from existing class. Here, new class is called child class or derived class or subclass, and the existing class is called as parent class, superclass, and base class. And acquiring the properties of one class to another is called as inheritance, or inheriting the properties of one class to another is called as inheritance. So this is all about inheritance, and there are some types of inheritance. Like there are 5 types of inheritance. You can see like single inheritance, multiple inheritance, and multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. And the main idea of inheritance, it provides the idea of reusability. That means we can reuse the code. So the reusability is provided by the inheritance. And polymorphism. The main poly is many, and morphism is forms, many forms. Polymorphism is the ability to take more forms. To take more forms is called as polymorphism. In simple way, for better understanding, I can say that an object which behaves differently based on the situation, or an object or function which behaves differently depending on situation is called as polymorphism. And function overloading and object overloading or function overloading are the examples of polymorphism. And the types of polymorphism are compiled time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. And this is all about polymorphism. Data hiding. Data hiding is nothing but actually we can hide the information of a class, like we can hide the data members and member functions of a class by specifying the private and protected data members of a class. The private and protected members of a class are not accessible by the outsiders. Hence, we can hide the data of a class by specifying the private and protected members of a class. This is all about data hiding. And then message passing. The object-oriented programming consists of objects that communicates with each other and communicate with each other. The communication between the objects, that means the objects are the passing the message from one object to another is called as message passing. Message passing is nothing but the process of passing a message from one object to another object is called as message passing. That then passing message is either can be like receiving message or sending a message. Data abstraction. Data abstraction is nothing but representing the essential data does not including the background details. That means representing the essential data and hiding the unnecessary data is called as data hiding. This data abstraction is nothing but representing the essential data and not and essential and showing representing or showing the essential data and hiding unnecessary data. And that by dynamic binding. Dynamic binding, a mechanism in object-oriented programming system in which a function execution is made at runtime based on the type of object is pointed. The dynamic binding is nothing but a process in which a functional execution is made at runtime is called dynamic binding. And this is all about the features of object-oriented programming system. And thank you.